Hey everybody, welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We have a transforming third-party figure review for you. Actually, it's a double feature, but it's the same figure. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the ModFans AL01 Ruller. So this is their take on a masterpiece scaled roller, you know, Prime's little guy that comes with his trailer. And this is really cool. I'm really excited about it because up until now, I've never seen a transformable roller, one that at least transforms into a robot. So this is really cool. But let's go ahead and get into the packaging. I'm only going to focus on one box here. They are exactly the same, except one has shades of blue, the other one has shades of gray. So let's go ahead and bring the blue one in. And you can see you've got the logo up there, modfans.cn. And you've got the artwork right there, ages 16 plus, AL01 Ruller. Over here you have a little bit more. 1-to-1 size. Over here on the back you have all that stuff up there, and then you have the alt mode. You've got the warning down here and all this verbiage if you want to read it down there. Over here you've got a half of the alt mode. Up top just AL01 Ruller, and down low AL01T. So there you go, and that's it for the packaging. So let's get these boxes out of the way and see what came with these guys. Behold, laid out here before you is everything that comes in that box with Roller, and as you can tell, they come with exactly the same things, so we're really only going to focus on one set of accessories here. But they do come with their instruction booklets, so let's go ahead and get those out of the way. And then we're just going to focus on Mr. Blue's stuff over here. This is Mr. Blue, in case you didn't know. All right, and yeah, he comes with this flexible rubber hose or flexible plastic hose that you use to connect the two weapons. So yeah, it's nothing too exciting, but let's move on to the next, which is the first pistol we're going to focus on. So yeah, it's just black molded plastic, got a little bit of sculpt work in there. It's kind of nice, and then you do have a port in the back that you can use to plug in the hose, and there you go. So yeah, you can do that. All right, so let's bring in the second weapon. And this one looks more like a Tommy gun. It's got this big barrel down here, or this big cartridge, kind of like in the style of a Tommy gun. Or drum. Drum, that's the word I was looking for. Drum. Anyway, so yeah, you've got some sculpt work there. And over here. And then back here. And one thing I did forget to mention with the first one is, hey, look at this. You have blast effect compatibility. So yeah, if you wanted to blast it up, go for it. So yeah, that's really cool. I don't know if they did that on purpose. Oh, I didn't have that one in all the way. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if it was just a happy accident. But yeah, you do have that ability, so enjoy it. I don't think you have it with this one just because of the shape of that front barrel. You might be able to push it on, but it's not very... I wouldn't push it too much further than that. So you could use it if you want, but this gun, definitely, you've got that blast effect compatibility on the front. And otherwise... plug it in, and then you have two weapons plugged into the hose. So there you go. That's it for the accessories for these guys. So let's get this cleaned up, and then we'll move on and take a look at his details. All right, fellas, it's time for your close-up, and I'm going to start with Mr. Silver over here, and then we'll make our way over to Mr. Red. So I'm going to try to be kind of quick about this. I don't want the video getting overly long, especially since they're exactly the same other than the coloring. But yeah, bringing him in, take a look at that head. I like what they've done with this head a little more than that head. The silver and the blue really works. But yeah, nice face sculpt, nice blue on those eyes, a little bit of sculpt work on that head right there. Coming down to the chest. See the sculpt work there. Making our way down. Got that nice clean look in that midsection, the crotch and the legs. And then making our way down to the legs themselves. I think they look really nice. These guys, man, in their bot mode, well, in both modes, they look really good. But I think in their bot modes, they look really good. And then opening those up, you can see you've got those wheels sitting back there. No real hollow areas to speak of other than just spots for the screws. And then taking a look at those feet. He is nice and stable, so he does have a heel right up under there. Would have been nice if the heel was just a little bit longer, but overall, I think this figure's got pretty good stability. So taking a look from the side here, might as well do the side view for both of them. So yeah, you can see they clean up really nice. Just a little bit of a backpack, but not really enough to worry about at all. So bringing him back in, taking a look at that leg right there. You can see how that cleans up. You got those little tail lights, or side lights, I should say. And then looking up under here, tuck that down. Now this is something that I will say, I would have liked these butt skirts to have been a little longer, because as you can see, you can get them pushed in, and then when you want to kick his leg back, kick it forward and then kick it back, it catches. So just be really careful of that. You're going to want to keep those butt flaps clear. If you don't mind it at all, it's probably the best just to keep them up there like that. But yeah, you can see everything cleans up. He's not hollow. They've got these pieces right here you'll see during transformation that actually fold down, that cover up that hollow area right there. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a pretty nice design. And then squeaky arms. And then coming up here to the arms, look pretty good. Nice and muscular looking, big bulky arms. And then you've got those fists. And then looking at the side of the arm right there, looks pretty good. And taking a look at him from the back, you can see not bad. Not bad at all, really. If they could have done something with these, like found a way to tuck them away, I think that really would have completed the look. But even as it stands right now, just having them in the back, they don't look bad at all. It's just more of a hindrance as you handle them, because they don't lock in anywhere, so they just do this pretty easy. So you can flare them out without meaning to. But really, I'm not complaining. I think it looks pretty good. So coming around, taking a look at the back here, you can see this is where all the screw holes are located. But even from the back here, he doesn't look too bad. So yeah, I would say as far as the details, the overall look of this guy, man, he looks good. He looks good in both modes. I don't know yet which one is my favorite. I really like the silver, but I also really like that blue. I like this face better. It's probably for the best to just pick them both up. So, but those are the details. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the articulation. Well, actually, before we jump into the articulation, I need to bring Mr. Blue in so you can see his close-ups as well. I was trying to get ahead of myself, but thankfully I caught it. So there is his face, and you can see that white with the blue eyes, and then the blue helmet and crown. And then you've got that red. Now this guy kind of emulates the original, like the G1 Roller colors, especially in the vehicle mode. You'll see that when we get him transformed here, but you can see those yellow headlights and then the blue right there on his legs. Now this is like a metallic blue, looks really nice. The reds are a bit of a matte color, not so much with a gloss, but I do think that the blue really sets off well. And then bringing him around to the back as well, looks really good. Yeah, so bravo, well done as far as the way these guys look. And as you would expect, the articulation is exactly the same between the two, because the only difference is the coloring. So let's go ahead and bring Mr. Blue in and talk about that articulation, starting up here with the head. So you've got a pretty good range of motion here. His head, that's as far down as it goes, but you can get it up right there, and you can get a little bit of head tilt, so he can get some nice quizzical looks, and then you can go all the way around with that head if you choose to do so. Shoulders are set up a little bit differently. You're not going to get a lot of motion up like this, so you're going to have to work around it. So you can get there. It's just not, would have been nice if he could bring it all the way up. So right there, that's where you're going to max out. You can go all the way around with it, and you'll notice his shoulders are not squeaky. His shoulders, they are squeaky. So I'm going to put him off to the side to make sure that the focus stays on Mr. Blue here. But yeah, so shoulders, yeah, that's where we were. All right, and then you can do a little bit of a butterfly because of that joint that he's sitting on right there. So you can bring those arms forward a little bit if you need to. And then coming on down, you do have bicep rotation right here. So you can go all the way around. Double jointed elbows. So it's for transformation primarily, which you can see. Get that out of there. Yeah, there we go. So you can see, like, for transformation, that's going to fold up completely. So that's what it's there for, but you can certainly take advantage just with his normal posing as well, so you can still get quite a bit right there. And as you can see, cheating a little bit here, you've got the ability to move those wrists, so you can bring the wrist up that far, bring the wrist down that far before you start to open the panel. And then he has wrist rotation as well. So very cool. Now, something that I've never seen on a figure ever, I'm sure they're out there, I just personally haven't seen it, is you've got a big ball joint right up here. So you can take this guy, and that's how they utilize the ab crunch, but you can also get some sweet side-to-side movement with him. So you can get some obliques, not just that forward ab crunch, but you get some oblique crunch as well, which is really cool. So range of motion as far as that goes, the ab crunch forward, trying to get that arm out of the way, there we go, just do it like that. Ab crunch forward and then backward, so pretty good range of motion there from a joint I wasn't expecting in the first place. And then you have waist rotation, so you can go all the way around at that waist. And then coming down here to the hips, as I stated earlier, just be sure you keep these butt skirts out of your way when you're moving these hips around. It's going to save you some interference pain, so I'm going to go ahead and lift those front skirts up too so you can see what's going on under there. Now, splits, he's got them in spades. Nice splits. You are definitely going to get a Roller Van Dam on this guy. And forward kick, he's going to forward kick that far. Keeping those butt skirts out of the way, he's going to back kick that far, so plenty of range of motion. And then you have thigh rotation that far out, that far in. So not as much thigh rotation as I would have liked to have seen, but it's still more than enough to get him in some really cool poses. Coming down here to the knees, you get ratcheted knees, and you do get a really nice deep knee bend right there, so you can bend him that far for that knee bend. And then bringing them back out, you can actually get a couple of clicks forward as well. So if you need to kind of chicken leg him, you can do that as well. So one interesting little difference between these two guys is, well, it's not actually a difference, just it's funny to me to see that in manufacturing how the exact same figure can be a little different. So you can hear that ratcheting. If I bring Silver in, his ratchets are super tight. Like, it's much tighter. You know, he's not going to go anywhere. Don't get me wrong; those are nice tight ratchets. But yeah, his knees are much tighter. Hips are much looser. So, example, I didn't want to go down this road, but here I am. So, yeah, it's just kind of loose. It's just looser than him. So if I bring that forward, you know. Just differences in manufacturing, it just fascinate me. But anyway, yeah, so nice deep knee bend, thigh rotation, and then getting down here to those feet. So you get ankle tilt, goes that far in, and then bring it back out to where it's level. You can't really do anything else here. I mean, you can bring those toes down if you want. You can bring these heels down if you want. You can kind of go weight bearing with them. So it just doesn't really look the greatest. You've got that gap right there. But yeah, you do have some definite options when it comes to articulation on these guys for sure. I think overall the articulation is done really well. Really pleased about that midsection joint right there to that ball joint. Would have liked to seen a slightly different configuration in those shoulders though, just to get him some more ability to bring those arms up a little bit more. Now regarding those accessories, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. It's not a lot that you can do really with these accessories. So if I were to just take Mr. Blue and put him off to the side, and bring Mr. Silver in, and he can be my model. You can put a gun in each hand. You can use this hose or not use this hose. It's really up to you. So if you do use the hose, you know, do it the way you want to do it, I guess. There's nothing that says you can't. So kind of plug these in. And yeah, there you go. You're ready to rock and roll. He's got his guns. He's got that hose back there. If you don't want to do that, you can maybe just take the hose off. The other thing that you can do that I've done is if you take one of the guns off and then you kind of sort of have weapon storage back here with this port right there. So if you were to take one of these guns, the problem is unless you flip this piece up, which I guess there's nothing that says you can't, then you can plug this in just like that and kind of have a shockwave style gun with a hose on it. you know, bring that down a little bit, and then that clears, but it doesn't sit flush. You can maybe do something like that. You could flip it around and do something like that. So if you want to wanted to have it go under, you can totally do that. If you don't want to use the hose at all, just unplug the hose. You know, there you go. So those are the accessories. I think they do a pretty good job. I'm not going to sweat the accessories with this guy because I am just absolutely in love with the design in general and just adore the fact that we have a transforming roller now. So I'm not going to sweat these accessories too much. Really cool that he comes with these. Honestly, even in the vehicle mode, this kind of sort of, you know, if you really use your imagination, can be used as a gas pump. But even then, I don't really care. So yeah, that is the details, articulation, and accessories for these two guys. Well, the same figure, just different colors of the same guy. So let's go ahead and get into the transformation and get him into his alt mode. Since both of these are the exact same figure, I'm only going to do the on-screen transformation for one of them. And Mr. Blue has graciously offered to be my volunteer here. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is just collapse these arms up. And it's pretty easy. Just take the arms right here underneath and lift this panel right here. And then you're going to tuck the hand away and close that up. And then right over here, you're going to collapse this lower arm into the upper arm. But in order to do that, you need to take this panel loose right here. So just grab that panel and then you're going to flip this up. And then you notice you've got a big old slot right there. You've got a big old tab right there. And it's almost like they were meant to be together. So close that up just like that and bring that wheel out. Now, you do have another step under here. You have this shoulder piece right here that you need to just kind of use your thumb and bring that up. So this is going to try to collapse on you as you manhandle it. It's going to collapse on you a little bit, so keep an eye on this and don't let it get too far away from you. But yeah, it's going to go ultimately like this. All right, that's going to be kind of the finished view. Me personally, I just keep this panel up and out of my way until I get everything collapsed together, but you do it the way you want. For now, I'm going to collapse it up just so you can see how it's supposed to look. And then coming over here, we'll do the same thing. We're going to lift that arm up. We're going to bring that panel down. We're going to tuck that fist away, close that up. Grab this little guy right here, flip that panel up, and then collapse this arm. And then grab this little shoulder piece up under here. And bring it up, and then collapse it up just like that. All right, and then we're going to move these wheels out. And you should have something that closely approximates this at this stage. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab this chest plate now. And you're going to lift that chest plate up. That's on tabs. Get those arms out of my way so I can get my thumb and forefinger in there. And then lift that chest plate up just like that. And then it's on a double hinge. You're simply going to bring it down and set it just like that. All right. And then I'm going to take the head, I'm going to rotate the head 180 degrees so that way we don't have visible head syndrome when we get him into his alt mode. Now we're going to take apart the upper body here. So in order to do that, you've got this little back piece right here. You're just going to grab it and you're going to pull that out and just bring it out like that because you're going to need the clearance for the next step here. So you have these little guys right here that are hinged pieces. So you're going to take those guys. I'm going to put his butt flaps down before I forget about them. So you're going to take these guys right here. You're just going to disconnect just like that. And then you're going to bring them around and bring them out. Do the same thing over here. Grab that, bring it out, around. Now this is going to give you the clearance that you need for your next step. So take these, the arms, and you're going to rotate them around like that and then lift them up just like that, because now we're going to grab these little pieces right here that are in his midsection and we're going to bring these down. Do that on either side. So you should have something that looks like that. All right. Now the next thing that we're going to do is probably the most annoying part of this transformation. So we're going to get these arms straightened out. So he's going to roll like this. So you want these wheels facing same side as the chest plate. And then you're going to bring this piece down and it's not going to lock in anywhere. You're just going to set it down, and it's going to cover up his face. And then you've got this little guy right here that's going to come down, and it's going to do that. So for those of you who are familiar with the G1 Roller, these are the little, it used to be the little spring-loaded pieces that you would put into the trailer that would launch him. So this is kind of the rear of the roller is what we're looking at. All right, so now what we're going to do, these are sitting on double hinges, so you can see right there. That's a better view. So right there and right there, you're sitting on these double hinges. So what you're going to do, and this is what I'm talking about, these little pieces right here want to collapse on me because this is exactly where I put my thumbs. So make sure you keep these pieces up. So you're going to actually bring this up and then push it down. Get that out of your way. And then push it down. And when you do, bring that back out. You've got these posts right here on either side. They're going to correspond to these ports right there. So bring that up, bring that in, and then you're going to line these up. There we go. And then that's going to collapse in just like that. All right. So now, make sure I've got these little guys, little shoulders sitting up. So now we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to bring this up and then down, and then that's going to drop right in. Now, the difficult part. So a little bit of an explanation as to what's going on back here. You have this flap right here, and if you look really closely at that, you have these little lips on either side, on the outside right there. And if you look really closely at these hinges, especially if I fold it up, you have these little notches right in there. So hopefully you can see that notch right there. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to have this down, fold this up, and it's going to capture, that notch is going to capture that lip, while simultaneously you have tabs right here and here that are going to correspond to these two slots. So you need to capture all of this. You need to bring this up on that double hinge, capture the slot and tab system there, and this lip and edge system right there. You're going to have a lot of difficulty if you don't do this next part. This is the part that was really tough for me, was you got to crank on this. There's really no better way to say it. You just need to kind of push down and really push these into their position. And if you don't do that, none of this stuff is going to line up. So just push down harder than you might think you need to on that area right there. And then you're going to bring this up, and you can see, hopefully you can see, that my tab and my slot is as good as it's going to get, really, as far as the lineup goes. And then it's going to be pressure the rest of the way. So I'm going to fold this up, and then I'm going to hold this down with my finger, and I'm going to push all that together. All right, and then you can straighten that little guy out. But that's what you're going to want. And if you look really close, you can see how that lip gets caught by that piece right there. So we're going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to crank that down to make sure I'm in a good position. And then I'm going to fold this up. I'm going to kind of eyeball it, make sure that I've got a good line up there. I'm going to fold this around, and then I'm going to hold that down with my finger, and I'm going to push on this and lock that into place. So hopefully all that made sense. It was really difficult doing it the first couple of times, but once you get used to it, it's not that bad. But this should be what you should be looking at as a finished product back here. And I am going to take a moment, and I'm going to focus on this because this is going to be the difficult part of the transformation for sure. All right, so once you're here, well, you're almost golden. All right, so flipping back over, and as you can see, that's the rear of the roller. So now we're going to focus on this lower body to make the front of the roller. So a couple of things. We're going to take those feet and just straighten those feet out, and then we're going to take those heels and fold those heels up just like that. So straighten that ankle tilt out and fold those heels in. And then you've got these pieces right here that are on a double hinge. It's probably easier if I show from this angle. They're on a double hinge. They're going to come up and they're going to sit on this tab. So if you just take your thumb and forefinger on either side, lift those up on that double hinge and bring that down, that's what you're going to be left with. All right, so do the same thing over here. bring that up, and then you're going to flip around, and we're going to remove these wheels. So upper wheels are pretty easy. You're just going to flip them out. There's no problem there. These wheels, which will ultimately become the ones in the middle after you rotate everything around, you're going to bring them out, and then you'll notice that they're awfully close over here, and it looks a little different in there. So you actually have this little assembly right in here that are sitting on two different axes of rotation. So once you get the wheel out, you want to bring this around to the next hard stop. So it was here, and then you want it over here, like that. Hopefully I captured that well enough. And same thing over here, you're going to flip those out, flip this wheel out, and then you're going to take that wheel and you're going to crank it to the hard stop right there. And now we're getting pretty close to being ready to fold everything together. So I'm going to flip these up just to give myself some clearance. I'm going to look under here and I'm going to make sure that my little shoulder pad guys are in the right spot. I'm going to make sure that these skirts, sorry I was off camera, that these skirts are together. So now you can, one more thing to do that helps is take these kneecaps and bring those kneecaps out just like that. All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to tab these together. So you've got a couple of pegs, you've got a couple of ports, and you're going to bring those together. Close those up. And now we're ready to do our rotation. So the only thing I'm doing here is I'm making sure I've got my kneecaps out, and then I'm making sure that my waist rotation isn't too many degrees off. It will auto align once you get it up here. It's just helpful when you start that initial rotation to make sure. So now you're just going to crank this around, making sure that those skirts are in because they need to tuck up underneath the rest of it. So stop here, give you a view. Make sure that you're going to clear all of that and then bring that on down and then give that a push. Make sure you're sitting even everywhere. And last thing to do is bring these panels down and then close them up, and that'll grab that shoulder pad. So bring that panel down, close it up, that'll grab the shoulder pad, and then just give everything one final squeeze, make sure everything's in place. Come here to the front, close those up. Now this chest piece, it doesn't really lock in. I mean, you've got those tabs in there, but it's not like a press fit. So you can see it lines up and it closes, but just with a little bit of thumb pressure, it's going to move on you. So don't sweat that too much if this moves on you. You're not doing anything wrong. All right, but with that, you have Roller in his roller mode. So I can only speak for myself here, but I think this figure looks amazing. He looks good in the blue, he looks good in the silver. It really doesn't matter which one you get. I think that both of the modes, the robot mode and the alt mode, just came out looking phenomenal. Just how cool is it that we have a transformable roller? I mean, that in itself is mind-boggling. And then when you get to one that has this look in both modes, I think it's really well done. So I'm just going to give a couple of rotations here on that turntable so you can get that full uninterrupted 360 of what this guy looks like in his silver and in his blue. Like I say, there's no losers here. Both of these guys are winners in my book. Now that we've got that turntable out of the way, we'll bring these rollers in and take a look at their details. And we'll start over here with Mr. Blue and bring him in so you can see that front end right there. And you can see those yellow headlights painted on. And then he's got his indicator right there. And then coming around, I think those wheels look great. I love that red line in the wheels. Now these are just plastic, they're not rubber, but they roll very freely. And you do have that simulated suspension right there. You actually do get just a little bit of flex out of that suspension, but I wouldn't push it too far. And then of course you got that really nice blue paint. You can see that right there. Not a lot of detail on the sides, so kind of monolithic there. Coming around to the back, I think it all comes together looking pretty good. And you've got those little, what used to be the spring loaded on that G1 roller, now just kind of look like exhaust pipes right there. And then you got his little light on top. Coming around to this side, whole lot of the same thing. And then from the top, you can see him. And then from the bottom, see how everything folds up there. So yeah, he comes together pretty good. I think it's cool that they have these little seats in here. Unfortunately, you've got nowhere to put legs if you've got smaller figures like some of the Masterpiece figures. So you're not actually going to be able to really fit anybody in this roller. But hey, I think he looks pretty cool. So yeah, that's Mr. Blue, Mr. Silver. We're going to go just a little bit faster here because it's the exact same thing, just silver paint. So there's that front with those headlights coming around to the side. Everything looks good there. Same wheels coming around to the back. Got all that going on. Oop, all that going on back there. Coming over to this side, same thing. There he is from the top. And there he is from the bottom. So yeah, both of these, very, very cool. I like them very much. All right, so we talked about the details. Now we're going to kind of get into the some of the things that these guys can do. So quick edit here, and then we'll come back with some more toys. As you can see, I brought in a couple of other items for our next segment here. We're just going to be going over a few of the things that you can do with the roller figure. So as you can see, I did bring in one set of the pistols and the rubber hose that came with the figure. So yeah, I mean, you could pretend that you're putting gas in something, I suppose, if you want to. But of course, they're also guns. So what I'm going to do, just for quick demonstration purposes, I'm going to plug them in together. And then I'm going to take Roller here. Roller. I'm going to call him Roller. And you can see he's got a port right there. I'm just going to plug those in. And there you go. Now you have Roller with his weapons where he can roll out and blow some stuff up. So very, very cool. All right, so I'm just going to move him on back, and then we'll bring Mr. Silver in just because why not? All right, so then you will also notice back here that you have two slots. And then you will need to do a little bit of prep work before you do this next part. But those two slots are to match up to the MP10 Optimus Prime trailer. So unfortunately, what you need to do is you need to remove this little red light that's on there. It's just press fit in there, relatively easy to take on or to take off and put on. And then it's just simply a matter of lining these slots up to the tabs on the bottom of the trailer, which I'm going to be brave enough to try to do this on camera because why not? All right, so line them up, give them a push. It's really hard to see the line up here, but once you get them pushed in, hey, there you go. So now you have, make sure his wheels are all oriented correctly. And once you do that, let's move Mr. Blue out of the way. Once you do that, you are all set. You've got a roller that can pull the MP10 trailer, and it, although being stiff because of the trailer, you can turn the other way. And then, yeah, he's good to go. So, very cool. I do very much enjoy that. I'm not the biggest fan of the fact that you have to take this off in order to make this work. It's just simply a matter of interference. So if I pull this back up here, I'll show you what I mean. So you can see it's pretty tight right up there. And if you tried to do it with the, bring Mr. Blue in for an example. If you try to do it with the light on, his light's a little crooked, there we go. You can see that when your hitch comes down, it's not going to seat fully into those slots. So a bit of a bummer that you have to take that light off, but still really cool that you can hook them up to the MP10. I don't know if it works with other trailers. I don't have other trailers to try it on. So if you know, hey, let me know in the comments. It would be really interested to see how all that works out. So the next thing that we're going to do is just simply open the trailer up here, and we're going to talk about how you can, do your imaginative play by having Roller go in. So I'm just going to take that, open that, and then turn him around here. Crack this open, bring these down, and then pull out the ramp for MP10. And you can see, hopefully, it's good enough view, you can see that you can take either one of these guys and roll them up there, no pun intended, and seat them right in there. And it is, he's narrow enough that he fits right on the flat surface here, and you can fold this trailer up. So in order to do it right, let's roll him around that way. Now, can't have him back here. Just, sorry, you can't, because these are going to get in your way. So as you fold this up, you can see they're going to run into him. So You do have to have him about right there or closer if you want. And then I'm going to leave, I'll just leave this ramp as it is and then close him up so you can see Roller in there and just having himself a good old time. And he does roll freely out. And you can take him on, and of course Mr. Blue fits in there as well. I don't know if they both fit. No, I don't think they're both going to fit in there. That's about the best you're going to get. But either way, yeah, really cool. Very happy that you can do that with them. So yeah, that pretty much does it for what you can do with the accessories. So I guess we covered details, we covered all the accessories. We'll just jump right into the comparisons now. For our first alt mode comparison, we're just going to start with that OG. So this is the roller that came with my original G1 Optimus Prime. And you can see, hey, this one over here, definitely a really good match. But you can see the difference in size between these three guys. Moving on to our next comparison, this is the roller that came with the Masterpiece MP10 Optimus Prime. And our final comparison, just for fun, this is the roller that came with the New Age David. That was their take on a Legend scaled Optimus Prime. That's going to do it for the alt mode comparisons. Let's get into the transformation and get Roller back into his bot mode. So the first thing that I do to get Roller transformed back into his bot mode is I'm just going to take these middle wheels right here and I'm going to move those down a little bit out of my way. That way I can have easy access to these flaps right there, and I'm just going to grab those. I'm going to pull those up on each side, and then I'm going to lift this up just so I've got some clearance here when I bring those legs out of the way. So in order to bring those legs out of the way, bring these wheels back up so they don't catch on anything, and then you're just going to grab Roller and pull him apart. One thing you can do if you want proactively, it's up to you, and they do it automatically, but if you just want to be safe, you can bring those headlight pieces up too, and bring those down, split your legs. And then we're going to do a little bit of work here on the backs. So these wheels are easy. You're just going to flip those wheels in just like that. And these, you've got one extra step here. So if you look up underneath there, you've got that offset axle. So you're just going to take this wheel and you're going to push it so it's sitting forward like that. And then you're going to fold that in, and that's going to tuck away real nice in that pocket right there. So same thing over here. Take this wheel, fold it up, take this wheel, push it forward on that offset axle, and then bring that in. Alright, so coming back over here to the feet, you've got your heels right here that you need to pull out, and if you can't grip them very easily, you could try a couple of different things. You could bring that toe all the way down, and sometimes they'll stay, so you could pull that trick if you want, and then you've got your heel and toe taken care of. The other thing that you can do if you bring this down and they don't stay is just use a tool. So just anything that you can get a hold of to push down in there and push that heel out so you can grab it. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these seats and bring them down. They're sitting on a double hinge right there, and we're just going to pick those up and bring those down, and that's going to make the lower part of the shin. Do the same thing over here. Just pick that up, bring that down on that double hinge until they sit flush, and then you have the legs completed. So now we can focus on the upper body. So the first thing I'm going to do up here for the upper body, I said ucker, the upper body is take these flaps right here, and once you pull these out, that's going to disconnect this little section right here. So just reach under here and grab those flaps and give those a pull, and they're going to bring those down right off those tabs and just have them straightened out like that. Same thing over here, give that a pull, and then we're just going to have those sitting as such. And what that's going to give us the ability to do now is take this piece and lift this piece up, and then take these arms. You're just going to grab on either side right here and give these a pull, and they're on double hinges, and you're going to pull these out. So it's a little more difficult. There we go. And you're going to pull those out so they're just like that. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to take these arms, I'm going to lift them up right there because that's going to give me the ability to take this little flap and bring that up, and that's going to form the side or the oblique of a roller. So do the same thing over here, push that up, and then you're all set. Now we're going to take these flaps right here, and we're going to bring them over the body, and then they're just going to tuck away right here in the back. So again, trying to find the best view here. I'm going to give these a 90-degree angle like that, and then I'm going to bring them forward. Need to move this out of the way. Makes life a little bit easier. Bring those forward, bring that down, and then you can see where it's just going to fit in right there. Give that a little bit of a push, and then you're all set. So do the same thing on this side. We're going to give that a 90, bring that down, and then you're all set. You've got that chest done as well. Now with this piece, go ahead and bring that down. This is sitting on a double hinge as well, as you can see right there. So it was like this. You're going to bring it down on the double hinge, and then you've got 2 tabs, and then those 2 slots right below the face. Bring that down, and then just bring that piece down and tuck that away. Now you can turn your head around, easy peasy. And now we are left with the arms and this upper chest section here. So let's go ahead and take care of the arms. So first thing I'm going to do, they're going to want to collapse on me anyways. I want to take these pieces right here, and I'm just going to bring those down and collapse those in. So do that on this side as well. Collapse those in. Now I'm going to open the arms up. So they're just sitting here like this, and I'm going to open them up. And that's going to expose this slot right here. So I'm going to close this down. I'm going to close this wheel. I guess so that slot goes to that tab. Sorry, I didn't want to make it sound like there was anything you needed to do there. But I'm going to close this up, and then I'm going to bring that wheel down, and then this little piece right here is going to tuck away right into that cavity. So just close that up, and then you're all set. Then you can come over here to the hands. You've got this little flap right under here. Open that up, and then just give that a push up top. Bring that hand out, close that up. You've got one arm done. So we'll do the same thing over here. So you're just going to grab that arm, open that up. You're going to fold this down, move this wheel down and out of your way so you can expose that cavity. Close this piece down and tuck that away. Open up that flap. Bring that hand out. Bring that arm down. And then the last thing that we have to do is move this chest. It's kind of sad actually because he's got this little red translucent area right here that is supposed to be a light that you never really get to see, but you got to bring his chest up. So the chest is on a double hinge. Lift that up, swing that up, tuck it away, and there you have Roller back in his bot mode. So for that first bot mode comparison, you can see the 2 rollers next to the Masterpiece scaled Spike. This is just simply to give you a sense of scale here, what you're working with these 2 guys. Moving on to our next comparison, here we see those rollers with the Masterpiece MP10 Optimus Prime, and as we showed earlier, these guys are fully compatible with towing Optimus's trailer, and yeah, you can see, I guess, converting to robot mode, I'd say they scale up pretty well. Since we brought in that Legend scaled roller for the alt mode, I figured I would go ahead and bring in that Legend scaled Prime to give you a sense of comparison there. So this is the New Age Toys David, their take on a Legend scaled Optimus Prime. And for that final bot mode comparison, here we see those rollers next to the OG. This is my original G1 Optimus Prime, and you can see that they're almost the same size as this G1 Prime. That's going to do it for the comparison, so let's go ahead and get into those final thoughts. So there we have the ModFans AL01 Ruller in silver and in blue, and I will say I don't think it matters which color this guy is. He's cool. I really like this figure, and especially for the price point. But let's go ahead and just jump into it, and we're going to start with the overall looks of the figure, the aesthetic that he brings. Both modes look great. You know, the alt mode, it's Roller, you know, through and through, no doubt about it. And the bot mode, my goodness, they've done a fantastic job here of turning Roller into a hero. I mean, he just looks good. The proportions are good on this figure. The sculpt work looks good. It doesn't really matter whether it's blue or silver. The paint looks great. The colors work. It's just a lot of fun. What an amazing shelf presence this figure brings, and I didn't realize that I needed it until I saw it. So I think he's done really well. If I'm going to pick on anything, I would say maybe just the paint applications themselves. Really in the alt mode is where it's noticeable on those headlights. So when he's in his roller mode, you know, the headlights are not quite squared up. It looks like they're, you know, not quite even. But other than that, my gosh, he just looks wonderful everywhere. I couldn't be happier than what I am right now. So I'm going to give him a very rare 10 out of 10 for the overall looks here. So moving on to the articulation. This is a really well done figure. There's a few minor points that I would have liked to have seen improvements on, but for what we have here, done really, really well. So let's just go over some of the stuff that I think could have used a little bit of improvement. He could have used a little bit more motion in that head. So a little more up, a little more down, a little more tilt, but it's not missing. It's just, you could have used a few more degrees there. You've got to work around the shoulders, so the shoulders don't have that full level of articulation, especially when you're raising those arms up. So right here, just bringing those up, would have liked to have seen a little bit more motion there, or maybe a slightly different design to give him a little bit better motion. You can get around it, but you just have to plan for your poses. The ankle tilt, there's a little bit missing there as well, so what's applicable to the head is applicable to the ankles here. Would have liked to have had a few more degrees of motion. The ankle tilt is there, just would have liked to have had a few more degrees on that ankle tilt. One thing to note, this is not necessarily in relation to the limitations of the articulation. It really is just a matter of when you're posing this guy, please don't lose sight of your butt flaps. So right back here, those butt flaps right there and right there, they're just short enough that they're going to get caught on that leg. So as you're posing him, know where your butt flaps are, make sure they're out of your way just to keep your figure safe. A couple of really cool things, or one really cool thing actually that we haven't mentioned, is that ab crunch. So this is on a ball joint, so I have some concerns over time how long it's going to last, but for now, that ab crunch on this guy is awesome. This is something that I wouldn't mind seeing integrated into other figures as well. So not only do you not have that ab crunch, forward and back, but you have it side to side as well. So that really adds another level of dimension to the figure for posing. So really, really cool there. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 for articulation. If they could just improve a few little things, this guy would be almost perfect. So moving on to the accessories. They're fine. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about them. They're black molded plastic. I don't know what I would expect with Roller in the first place. You've got at least on one of the weapons, you've got some blast effect compatibility that you could use, and then you've got a rubber hose, and you could pretend that he's pumping gas into Optimus into his alt mode if you want, or you could mount them on the top of his vehicle in alt mode and use them as weapons. Totally up to you. They're just not super exciting for me, so I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10 for accessories. Moving on to quality. So these two figures, although they are the same, they are different when it comes to quality. So for Mr. Blue, almost everything on him is great. Joints are tight, but not too tight. Everything fits together better. Feels like he's slightly more refined than Mr. Silver. So Mr. Silver is actually where I have my problems. So he has really tight shoulders. Not necessarily a complaint, but they're so tight they're squeaky. His left hip right up here is loose in that forward and back kick. So it's not just a little bit loose, it's pretty loose. So if you pick him up and move him, that leg's going to flop around on you. And his knees are very, very tight. Now both of these guys have ratcheted knees, of course, but the knees on Silver are, I feel like I'm going to break him. They're so tight. So it's weird just to see between two of the same figure how different they can be from a quality standpoint. The other thing that I would mention is during the course of transformation, it seems like the tolerances on Silver are a little tighter than they are on Blue. Blue comes together pretty well. You still have to watch that whole transformation when you're bringing these shoulder straps over and locking everything into place in the rear of the alt mode. But man, when I was transforming Silver for the first time, I thought I was going to break something. So I didn't, thank goodness, but it really felt that way. So interesting to see all the differences in the quality. So it might be a bit of a crapshoot depending on your copy, but based on what I'm seeing right here, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10 to the figure for overall quality. So bringing us to our last bullet, which is overall value. Man, the value is here. If you can find this guy at the right place for the right price, this is definitely a figure you're going to want. Personally, I picked these figures up. These were pre-orders from showzstore.com. I paid $31 each for these. I think that's a wonderful price. Man, you get so much figure for that price point. Be careful where else you buy them. Other online stores may charge more. They may charge the same. Just be aware of that. I think that $31 price point is pretty darn good. just be careful where you pick him up other than that. But yeah, the value is definitely here at that price point. So I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10 for overall value. Before we get to the overall score, one thing that I do want to mention is this is a review that was a long time coming. So I mentioned that I picked these up from the showzstore.com. This guy was supposed to be here a month ago, easily a month ago. And he was shipped out, no problems on Show Z Store. He was shipped out. He was arrived in the United States, taken from the port of entry, and got sent to the Midwest and was stuck in customs in Chicago, Illinois for almost a month. Nothing Show Z Store could do, nothing I could do. Don't know what was going on, but he was just out there in the ether for a month before he finally got delivered to me. So would have had this review to you guys a lot sooner had he not gotten stuck in customs, but he's here now, and oh, I'm so happy. All right, all that being said, let's get to that final score. So the ModFans AL01 Ruller, out of a possible 50 points, he gets 43 out of 50, which puts him at 86%. Makes this a super easy recommendation for me. Quality might be a little bit of a crapshoot, but neither one of these guys has bad quality. But everything that you get here, the transformation is intuitive. It's relatively easy. It can be fun once you get the hang of it. The shelf presence of this guy is amazing. It doesn't matter which mode you've got him in. The fact that you can use him on that MP10 trailer, the fun never ends with this guy, and he looks so good doing it. So I definitely recommend that you pick this figure up. So with that, that's going to wrap up the review. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you got some good information out of it. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment if you feel like it. I would like to hear if anybody who has this figure, if you've tried it on the MP44 trailer. I just don't have that trailer, so it'd be interesting to hear that. So one last favor to ask is if you know of anyone who would like the channel and like the videos that we make here, please share this channel, share this video, spread the word. It's always fun to see the channel grow. And with that, that's going to wrap it up. So until we see you guys in the next one, take care.